What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Wait What Are We Talking About podcast, episode 102. My name is Bret, aka Enigma9011, and you catch this podcast live over on twitch.tv/Enigma9011 every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern. You can join the chat if you're a subscriber over there and join on the conversation. We'd love to have you. If you can't catch it live, that's a-okay. It's brought to you over by, brought to you over on YouTube and SoundCloud the very next week, where it's broken out topic by topic and put as one big video and MP3 on the following Friday on YouTube or on your podcast services, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, hopefully Apple Podcasts soon. They're all over there. You can check it out. Appreciate you guys giving it a watch and giving it a listen. Last but not least, if you guys want to rep some of the merch, you can go over to the merch store, get all of your swag over there, t-shirts, cups, backpacks, and more. Rep the brand, support us. It would be greatly appreciated. So episode 102 is happening today. Flying solo today, so we're only going to be doing two topics. Not gonna lie, it was kind of tough to think of some topics. It was like, oh, Venom just came out. I have no time to go see Venom. That's not gonna happen. I don't know. What else could I talk about? I started looking at some numbers. Obviously, we have now branched out to podcast services, and it seems like you guys are actually giving this a listen. So first off, thank you very much if you have given this a chance. I know, obviously, new podcast, got to give it a chance there, but also a podcast that doesn't have a set topic that we're talking about, and it's very random and open, like we talk about anything. I know that can be a little bit tough to get into, but I appreciate you guys giving it a chance and sticking around with me, giving the podcast a listen, give it a watch, whatever it is. So I kind of wanted to introduce myself a little bit more, especially with all the new views coming in. We've talked about some of these things in previous episodes, but that's a whole lot of content to go through. And if you want to go through it, it's there. Please do. But if not, a little quick catch up, all that stuff, So I just thought I would kind of do a little introduction of me, talked about like how I got into content creation, some other stuff in my life that I do or have done. Just have some fun with that. So we'll start with content creation. How did I get involved with that? Obviously, if you're watching the podcast right now or have been watching it for a while, this podcast has gone on for since 2016. And you're probably like, wait a minute, you're only on episode 102. Yeah, wasn't that consistent early on with it, but it was just something that I wanted to give a try to do. Prior to the podcasts, I had a friend that wanted to do some YouTube videos, and he asked for some help, like, hey, do you want to just play some games, record some stuff, help me out with that, scheduling, whatever. It's like, you know what, I got some time, let's do it, let's have some fun with that. So we gave it a shot. We did some Mario Kart videos, we did some Smash Bros, we did some Halo matches that did not go well. We did not do anything special or memorable there. But we started with that, and we just had a blast kind of, talking ideas and things that we wanted to try and do. Some of them a little over the top and maybe never ever came to fruition or any work was done for it. But it was just something fun to do with our free time to kind of chat about and kind of let the creative juices flow. So yeah, we did that for a little while. I want to say maybe 6 months to 8, I don't know, something like that, 6 months to a year. And, life happens. You get busy. You want to do some different things. So he dropped out, decided he didn't want to do it anymore. And I was like, you know what? I want to keep up with it. So along with the YouTube, at some point, we had also picked up on Twitch. Now, Twitch, the live streaming aspect of it, I had no idea about. He recommended it. He was like, hey, give this thing, check it out. See if you like it. So I watched a streamer, Miss Snow White, shout out. Watched her play some Don't Starve, and I was like, oh, this is really, really cool. Obviously we're watching somebody play the game, but the interactiveness with obviously the streamer themselves, but then their chat of just like all these like-minded people coming together, talking about games they love, things they're doing, just a really solid, good community. So I was like, yeah, let's give this a try as well. So we tried it out. Unfortunately, connection-wise and technological reasons, they didn't work out for them. But for me, it seemed, yeah, you do it really well. And we were getting a little bit of an audience. We played, what were we playing early on? We played Shining Force. We played some Skate. Life is Strange when that first came out. Those were some of the first games we played, and it was just generally a good time seeing, once again, some like-minded individuals come in. Oh, I really like this game. What do you think about it? Talking about past experiences with like your gaming history and how you got into gaming, how you got into this. You don't know much about this game, etc. Whatever it was. Just fun to do. So yeah, we picked that up. I think that was 2015 was the live streaming. We did that, or I did that for a while. Had a good time with it. And I've been doing it ever since. There was a period of time where I had moved, actually. I had moved over to California to try the job market there. Didn't go super well, but it was a great experience for figuring out what I wanted to do with the content and kind of explore that avenue a little bit more. So I dedicated a lot of time into that, streaming, built up a little bit more of an audience. Like, sweet, great, awesome. But I noticed something was kind of missing. Sometimes I noticed like the way I was communicating to people wasn't consistent enough with like, I'm watching somebody, and a lot of the times there's nothing going on except for the game, which is fine, but sometimes that connective, like connecting to someone watching, wasn't there. So I was lacking on that skill, and I noticed that. So I had been listening to some other podcasts, some groups that I had been a fan of, whether it was the Yo Video Games crew or the Kind of Funny Guys or Funhouse or Achievement Hunter. And with the podcast aspect, I was like, oh, that seems like something that might help me get better in this communication aspect. So I was a big fan of Kind of Funny, still am, still respect the work they do. But something they had always brought up is like, if you want to do something, why not just do it? I understand, like, you might want a better camera, you might a better microphone, you might want this, that, this. It's always something that's like, not an excuse, but something that's holding you back from actually just doing it. Like, yes, obviously nothing's going to be 100% perfect when you first start, but if you just take the action, take the step and do it, you can build up and go up that, progress, make that progress, and make things better over time. So that's where the podcast kind of idea came to fruition. Like, all right, what do we talk about? I don't know. I don't have any consistent, like, things. I want to talk about a lot of different things. So we came up with the Wait What podcast, which was just random topics, as you guys know from watching this. So with some help from some friends from the earlier episodes, we had them on. We had a wide variety of topics, from what are your favorite games of all time to how do you play D&D effectively to what's the best French fries out there. Like, just totally obscure random topics, but just had a lot of fun doing it. And I think that in itself became the most important thing, is like, this is fun to do. Like, sitting in front of here talking about things I'm interested in, and hopefully someone else is enjoying that too, and having a conversation with them, whether it's in the same room or whether it's in chat, of like, yeah, let's talk about this thing and just gush over the things we like. So we've been doing that since returning back to New York in like 2016, 2017 time, and it became more consistent, obviously, as we racked up the episodes. And it's just been a fun thing to do. Lately, the game streams have kind of tapered off. There was some frustration building up there of just like not making the progress that I want. Kind of just a refocus. I'd like to do it again eventually, but we'll see. Like I said, life happens. Time is tough to kind of manage it all, juggle everything. But the podcast lately, especially, has been something that, once again, I just really enjoy doing, and I kind of wanted to invest more time in. So doing it now more often, or doing it like setting up guests really at a time or whatever, or even expanding out to do more podcasts. So like, along with this one, we also do a Marvel podcast called the Marvel Plus podcast, where we're talking the series over on Disney Plus, the What Ifs, the Loki, the WandaVision, etc., talking about the episodes as they come out, what we think the show's, what's going on in the show, what kind of crazy Easter eggs are there, things that we notice, and just kind of talk all the crazy theories. And funny enough, like, obviously I enjoy the Marvel product a lot, but I never thought of doing a specific Marvel show until this podcast on Wait What. There was, I want to say, 2 months stretch where WandaVision was a constant topic of like, oh, we're talking episode 1 and 2, now we're talking 3 and 4, etc., etc. And just, it seemed like chat was really enjoying it. We had a lot of people like Jeff Reg invested in it, and all the different theory chat, and it kind of just, like I said, made this second idea of the different podcasts and going from there. So that's been fun to do. And then also along the journey, I know I'm kind of rambling or going on with a bunch of different points, but we did some charity streams. We did Extra Life. And what Extra Life is, if you don't know, it's an organization that helps raise money for kids who are dealing with illnesses through video games. And streamers or content creators will make content or do live streams, do videos, etc., that they'll raise money during. Maybe certain milestones they'll do certain things or play certain games or punish whatever punishments. And yeah, we started to participate in that. It's been a fun event we've been able to do for the past 5 years, going on 6 this year. And it was just a kind of an excuse. Obviously, one, we're helping people out, so why not? But it was an excuse to kind of get all of my friends together. Let's play some video games together. I'll do some dumb shit, and we'll do it for a good cause. And it's been a blast doing these past 5 years. Obviously, last year was totally different with the pandemic. But myself and Lady in Wonderland, who's been on this show and content just a bunch, we were able to, do it solo with the two of us with some help from the parents, and it was a blast. It was another successful year. I think we broke our previous donation record or fundraising record. I don't remember off the top of my head what it was, but it's been a blast every year. Like Mrs. G says in the chat, love Extra Life. Yeah, it's just a great time. I'm really looking forward to the next one coming up and seeing like what ideas we can come up for it, and even future events, maybe doing 2 Extra Lives or whatever it is. But in a nutshell, content creation, that's been my journey with it. Are there some areas that maybe I want to do more in? Yes, absolutely. But once again, with time, and then just obviously the stresses of content creation, like consistency, audience, etc., etc., etc. It's like, refocus, figure out what you enjoy doing, and then kind of go from there. So this podcast especially, I really enjoy doing, and I appreciate you guys hanging out and watching and giving it a listen, etc. I hope that continues, and then for the rest, it will just be like falls in place. Then we'll go from there. So yeah, that's one aspect of me. Another thing that some of you guys might not know, especially if you are new to the show, is I have trained in Taekwondo for quite a long time. I haven't done it in the past, year or two. With different reasons. Job was the main one. I just wanted to do something different, so I wanted to focus my energy there. But then pandemic's affected quite a bit of things, so that affected that as well, at least my return to it. But yeah, I started training in Taekwondo when I was 7. I started an after-school program, tried it out there, thought it was a lot of fun, and my parents were kind enough to, support that and say, yeah, go give it a try. So we did that. And up to, in total, I think I was training 19 to 20 years at this point, like from 7 to now. And it's just, it's a blast. There's a lot of good moments from training, whether it was, helping out with classes eventually after, achieving my black belt, assisting with some of the lower belt classes, helping those guys out with learning their techniques, to eventually becoming part of the staff and teaching everybody from the little guys from 3 to 4-year-old to the adults who ranged at a wide variety of ages, 60 plus, etc. And just kind of, assisting them in learning, like, what's my form, what's my techniques, how do I do these things, and kind of taking on the challenges that they want to see themselves achieve, whatever it's, I want to achieve this physical goal, or I'm here for self-defense, or I'm here for a mental training, whatever it is, or obviously what the parents have for their child, what they have in mind. And it was a blast. It was always a blast teaching and seeing, especially the journey from the start to wherever they decided to stop, whether it was black belt or beyond that, or unfortunately prior to that in some cases, just like, how is this student improved? And it's crazy to think of sometimes, like, how many people in the span of, like, even just assisting to fully teaching to being head instructor, like, how many people have been in that system of, like, I'm teaching you something, from the student to their siblings to their parents to the grandparents, like, crazy to think about. And it's awesome to, like I said, once again, see the growth in them, and then, see their successes and share in their successes. And it's always been a thing of, like, they always come up, or some people will come up to you afterwards, like it's a test or whatever, and be like, thank you so much for doing this. And it's like, you're welcome, of course, but that was all you. Like, I am just the facilitator of, like, here's your resources. What you did with those resources is completely up to you. What was the effort that you put in? Like, what focus, what power, what, like, how did you, what did you do for the work and the effort? Like, that's up to you. That's not mine, and to see them go on to either, like I said, continue in their training, or obviously continue in their life and see them succeed there. It's just very rewarding to me, selfishly, just to be like, yeah, you know what, good for them. So yeah, in my own training, I made it up to 4th degree black belt. That was something I never thought I'd fully achieve. When I did finally get to 3rd degree, I thought, you know what, I'm good here. I'm, fine. And then 4th degree just kind of happened. I was there. I was still training actively. And it just kind of rolled into place. Like I said, I was happy where I was at with 3rd degree, but I was like, why not? Why not do this? Set the example of, like, there's always that next step, and keep training. So that was an interesting test. Now, at our school specifically, the way you achieve your black belt, you have to do a series of 4 exams. You have to do, throughout those exams, you have to do so many forms from previous belts that you had learned, all the kicks you learned, all the blocks, all the basics, whether it's, kicking combinations or hand combinations, whatever it is. And you need to perform those and be able to pass. So for 1st degree black belt, for example, with the 4 tests, it's your beginner level is your first test, your intermediate level is your second test, your advanced level belts are your 3rd test, and then your 4th test is the fun one. It's a series of a written test, a board breaking test, and then a sparring exam. Oh boy. It's a lot to handle. On top of that, there's also some extracurricular stuff, like there's running. There's 2 running tests that you had to do. There was some physical, like exercises, push-ups, sit-ups, etc. that you had to do. Some thank you letters, some essays, etc. Just stuff that you could do to, do the mental training part as well as the physical part in the exam. So each progression of black belt, obviously that test is going to get a little bit harder because you have more material that you need to perform. So I just mentioned the 1st degree requirements. So going into 4th degree, requirements were quite a bit different. Still the 4 tests, but your curriculum changed. For your first exam, you had all of your color belt materials. So from white belt all the way to recommended black belt, all the forms, all the kicks, all the combinations, etc. Your second phase was all of your black belt material. So 1st degree forms, techniques, etc. 2nd degree stuff, 3rd degree stuff. Your 3rd phase was all of your weapons material and self-defense. Was self-defense part of that one? No, self-defense was phase 4, excuse me. So phase 3 was your weapons. Your nunchuck material, your bow staff material, your kendo material, and your eskrima material. All of it. Phase 4 was still the fun one. Your self-defense, your board breaking, your sparring test, and personal forms. I think I forgot to mention that with the first degrees as well. But you had to make up forms. So as you're testing for first degree, you had one form you had to make up, and then in the fourth degree test, you had to make two. You had to make one just normal form, and then the second one was a weapons form. Great. All right, cool. So going along that journey was quite interesting, especially the sparring tests. Sparring tests, regardless of what degree you're going for, everybody likes the sparring test because you essentially beat down the person to see if they keep going. Do they have that mental fortitude to keep pushing through and fight on? So depending on, once again, the degree of black belt that you're going on, you'll do so many different rounds. So I think for fourth degree, it was 4 rounds, back-to-back, minute each of one-on-ones. So you'll fight one guy for a minute comes out, boom, next person's going to come in immediately, and you're going to continue that for the 4 or 5 rounds you're in. Get a little bit of a break, and then you do your 2-on-1s. So you're going to do 3 rounds of that. So it's 2 people versus you. Oh boy. And then you get the fun request rounds, which they have no mercy on. It's just a quick 30, 45 second match. That one's just mainly for fun. But it's not just one-on-one. Sometimes it is, but usually everybody and anybody will just pile on. So you can get a bunch of people on you. And yeah, it's crazy because like it's just a little, like I said, a fun send off. Like, congratulations, you put all this hard work in. Let's just have some fun with it. So you do that, you get kicked a lot, and you try and kick people back, but it's a good time. So yeah, that test was very rewarding, especially thinking that I wasn't going to even achieve that level. Once it did come to fruition of achieving it, it was just like crazy to think of the journey that I had leading up to that point. And you know, the group that I was able to do it with, whether they were achieving first, second, third, or a fellow fourth degree, sharing that experience with them was just fantastic. So yeah, we achieved that, being now master rank. That's fourth degree. Teaching was going well. I decided to take a break. I mentioned previously with the content, the move to California. So I did that for roughly a year, and I came back to it. I missed it a lot, and I had a new opportunity there. And yeah, just kind of focused more on the teaching aspect. I still was focusing obviously on my training and, you know, doing that. But once again, I was happy at fourth degree. And I think even still now, like, that's my, not ceiling, that sounds bad for rank, but like that, I'm good there. I don't feel like I need to go to fifth degree, sixth degree, etc. This is where I'm at. I'm good. Like, 'cause at this point, it's a matter of like, how do I improve myself, not what belt rank do I have on. So anyways, with the returning back home and going back to the Taekwondo schools, focus on teaching. There was a couple different iterations of staff around during that second tenure. So when I came back, I was second in charge for the location that I was at. Technically third if you want to put the big boss man on top, which is fine. So yeah, and then something happened and top person had left. So here comes me. All right, cool, great. And this unfortunately hadn't been the first time that this had happened. This had been the second time. And I had a little bit more experience with it now, but I had a lot more responsibility also with taking care of things. And it was a big undertaking, and it was something I never thought I wanted to do. Like, I always enjoyed the Taekwondo training and the aspect, and obviously teaching and assisting, but I never dreamt of like running a school. Now, I didn't, in some ways I ran it, in some ways I didn't. I had a lot of help and support systems of other people in their roles, you know, doing great at their job, so I didn't have to do everything. But on the floor, teaching wise, I was the guy, and it was a lot of responsibility. And you know, it was great. You know, it definitely had its ups and downs, but looking back at it and like just seeing people's feedback in like the positive experiences that they had, that tells me I was doing something right and something was going right at the school. And I'm glad to hear that, because you're always scared, just like, am I doing well? Are you getting what you need out of this? And it was a good experience overall. And once again, going back to the connections of like how many people you've actually interacted with, it's good to know, to see the positivity come back. It's a two-way street. So yeah, I was doing that for a while. I decided to stop again just because this time it was more of a mental thing. I was like, this is too much. There's not enough recognition for what I'm doing from inside structure. I don't know, however you want to put it, inside the organization. Obviously, the students and parents were all great. Never was anything they were doing wrong. So yeah, I was like, no, I'm going to stop. So I stopped. I think this might have been another year. Maybe it was 6 months. Got back into it. But this time I was at a different location. It was just assisting. And, I was still the same role I was, or same position of rank. So I still had that level of respect. That kind of sounds weird, but I was there to support. I was the support system, which I was totally fine with. I know what I'm doing. I'm here to help. Just tell me what to do. So I was there to be support. The thing was it was an adjustment because it was a whole new area of students that I need to learn names, what's your strengths, what's your weaknesses, etc. And it was a fun challenge. I had known a lot of the adult students from previous classes and training, so that was an easier transition, but the kids was definitely a harder one. But eventually, it all worked out, and it kind of, once again, built that bond with the students and parents around, and a reputation there. And it was great. A lot of good people there as well. And did that for a little while, maybe a year or two. I don't know. And then the next chapter happened. I got an offer for another job, which I felt like that was the correct path for me, to try something new, to try and get a quote-unquote real job. Not that the other one wasn't a real job, but maybe something that could, be a little bit more stable for me to move on with my life. And that's kind of where that chapter has ended, at least right now. Like I said, I've mentioned kind of I want to do it again, if you watched episode 100. But I don't know what the next step is here. As much as I love teaching, as much as I love teaching and supporting, the other people on their journeys, I don't know if that's for me. I don't have the time commitment to give up that time to support people fully in that way. If there's anything I can do, I definitely want to. So I think at this point, it's more of like, once again, how do I improve myself? And that sounds a little selfish, and I don't mean it to be, but I want to, if and when I do go back, it's going to be for me. How do I get back into physical shape? How do I learn something new for myself to do something cool? How do I improve on the things I've already know how to do? And then from there, using my teaching experience, like I said, do what I can do to maybe help someone in my class. Hey, I'm not picking up on this thing. How can I do that? Or, man, this is really rough. I can't do this. I can't learn it. And maybe try and help them overcome that obstacle. Like, no, you can't do this. Not everything's going to click, 100%. Use my past experiences like, oh, bull, I was like really terrible at this one thing, and now I can do it. Okay. So I think that's the support system that I kind of want to use, or be rather, if and when I do go back. Like I keep saying in this podcast, time is a big thing of like, balancing everything. It's a juggling act. So if and when I can do that, will be great. I'm very excited to do it. It's just a matter of time. One last thing I want to touch on about my Taekwondo journey is the demo team. So demonstration team. I was lucky enough to be able to part of at a very early rank. I think green belt was the first time I was involved with that. Just, doing minimal stuff. But from that point kind of set me on a path to something I never expected to be involved with, is being in front of people. Along with teaching, never thought I'd be in front of a group teaching and leading a group, but being in front of, depending on the audience, from 100 to 1,000 at a time, breaking boards, doing forms, etc., etc. And that was always a blast to challenge ourselves to do different jump kicks or do different skits or do different board breaks. Like, it was just a blast. And it was a blast also meeting people from different locations and being like, oh, you guys do this really well, I want to learn how to do that, and like working with them and creating, you know, these friendships with them to, you know, put on a show essentially. I think my favorites, while stressful at times, I think my favorites that we ended up doing was at the annual adult award banquet. So essentially what this event was like a big fancy dinner dance party that happened once a year. And the all-star team, we would perform at that. So this was the higher ranking belts, the older students, and you would see stuff that you didn't see in your average demo. Your average demo would be like, here's a form demonstration, the kids are going to break boards and do this, and maybe you'll do some weapon stuff. But the banquet was like, this is the show. Not to like blow smoke up my own ass, but that was the show that you wanted to see. You're going to see the crazy acrobatic stuff. You're going to see the crazy board breaks. You're going to see skits that you're never going to see again. Like, whether it was from an audience perspective, watching, you know, earlier years, or actually being involved, like, those shows were a lot of fun. And a lot of work went into them as well. Countless hours of practicing stuff. But those shows were a lot of fun. A little stressful because just like it's a jam-packed full day. So the event starts at 6 p.m. and goes till midnight. But as the demo team, you got to be there at 4 to do all your final rehearsals and blah, 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 figure out this stuff. And then people don't start rolling in until like 5:30 or whatever it was. And you're trapped in the back. You can't go really talk to people. You gotta just sit there and wait for the show to start, so you get all the nerves going and whatever. You go out there, finally people are sitting down, showtime, go out there, kick some ass, you know, do your thing, hopefully not mess up. And then afterwards you got a quick change, because then you got to do the normal event with awards and handing out raffle tickets, etc., etc. So that's the whole part of it. But yeah, that 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes of doing the actual performance, man, just, it's such an adrenaline rush, and like just hearing everybody, you know, cheer and everything, just a blast to do and to watch back. If you're watching this on YouTube, I think you can watch on the channel maybe 1 or 2 of those banquet demos if you really want to. You can check that out over there. But yeah, that's something I'll definitely miss. Even the championship ones too. I mentioned, you know, the crazy amount of people that we performed in front of. I think those have been our biggest crowds. We might have had one more that was bigger at a festival, but like those ones are insane to just hear everybody in the crowd react to something, whether it's a board break, whether it's, you know, flipping across, you know, over somebody or whatever it is. Like, it's crazy. And I think that was another fun aspect, just because of like the different stuff we could learn. We never tried to limit anybody of learning, obviously, different techniques. If there's a certain belt rank, obviously maybe a little bit, because you don't have the fundamentals. But like All-Star was just definitely something different, or demo team especially was something different, of just like, no, let's try this thing. You want to try and let's see how many people you can jump over. Let's see how high you can jump, or maybe let's try this new flip or whatever it is. Like, it was open to, let's do new stuff and how can we implement it in. And that just kind of kept things exciting, instead of just doing, now we're going to do the same form for the 800th time because it's good. Ugh. But yeah, Taekwondo is just a blast. Like I said, 19, 20 years doing it or something like that. It's insane to think about too. Going back to the teaching thing too, like teaching for 10 plus years and seeing someone, kid or adult, walk in the door, do their first class as a white belt, and then seeing them 4 years later achieving their first degree black belt is insane. And there's some kids that I've known since they're mighty might, 3 to 4 year olds, and now they're, going to college, etc. And it's like, wow, where did the time go? And how did you grow up so fast? It's insane. But enough of me rambling. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of give this little backstory about me, just because a lot of you guys are new. So I do appreciate, once again, your time. Thank you guys for listening, watching, etc., and giving us a chance. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. If there's anything feedback-wise that you do have, let me know. I'm all ears. Maybe audio's not the best. Maybe just, I don't know, something's just off to you. Let me know. Let's have a conversation about it. Let's see if we can figure it out. And topics too. If you ever got a topic that you want me to discuss, let me know. But speaking of topics, we're going to move on to topic number 2. If you're a wrestling fan, we talk a lot of pro wrestling here. I wanted to talk about the WWE Draft that started as of recording this past Friday and will continue tomorrow on Monday Night Raw for the part 2 of the draft. I wanted to talk about what's taken place so far, who's going to what brand, show, etc., and what this could mean potentially for shows. So how this worked out, like I said, I'm only talking about part 1 technically of it, so we still have a whole new thing or round, whatever you want to call it, on Monday night. We had a bunch of draft results that were drawn and picked on Friday's show, and then some others that were off camera picked by the 2 brands as well. So to kick it off, I'm going to read everybody that's going to Mondays, and then I'm going to read everybody that's going to Fridays, confirmed. How the draft has worked. There was a draft pool that they could pick from Friday night to select their picks. Monday will be an entirely new round or new talent that they can choose from. Obviously, talent that is chosen to go to their show will go there. Anyone who is undrafted is technically a free agent and can go to either brand. All right. Last but not least, draft results are not going to fully take place until after the Crown Jewel event. Why are we doing this draft so early then? I don't know, but that's the case. So we still have everybody on their respective shows for now. All right, so what's going on here? So we have going to Monday Night Raw confirmed. The WWE World Heavyweight the WWE Universal Champion Big E, Bianca Belair, RK Bro, aka Randy Orton and Matt Riddle, Edge, Rhea Ripley, Nikki ASH, Keith Lee, Rey and Dominic Mysterio, and Austin Theory. These are the ones announced on Friday specifically. Going to SmackDown, we have your heavyweight champion Roman Reigns, your women's champion Charlotte Flair, Drew McIntyre, New Day's Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods, Happy Corbin and Madcap Moss, Hit Row moving up from NXT, Naomi, and Jeff Hardy. Let me see if this article has the thing that I'm looking for. It doesn't, because that would be too easy. So I did I did say that there were other picks that were not televised. Let's see if I can find that second grouping. Aha, here we go. All right, so also going to Raw, we have Akira Tozawa, Alpha Academy, which is Otis and Chad Gable, Apollo Crews and Commander Aziz, Doudrop, Drake Maverick, John Morrison, Nia Jax, the 24/7 champion Reggie, R-Truth, T-Bar, and Zelina Vega. Also going to SmackDown, moving up from NXT, is Aaliyah. We have Drew Gulak, Mace, Mansoor, Mustafa Ali, and Tony Storm. Okie dokie. So that is everybody as of recording right now. Tomorrow we'll have to see what else changes. So, interesting draft so far. I don't know if how they decided to do it this year was the best. One, there's a lot of talent signed to WWE. With the amount of people they announced, I'm glad they did obviously the off-air stuff, but they only announced 8 picks per brand. Yeah, 8 picks. That's not a lot of people. I like how we're grouping tag teams together, so that's fine. But like, there's still a shit ton of people, I feel, that you have to go through. How many free agents we gonna have? I guess Monday is a 3-hour program, so you can announce a few more. But I don't know. I just feel like you didn't cover it a lot. Second thing, why the fuck are we doing the draft this early if things aren't going to take effect till like October 22nd? Weird choice. I guess this does give them an opportunity to wrap up storylines by that time. Cool. All right. I'll allow it. At least you're not just brushing everything under the rug and saying F it. Third, champions. All right, we got the main men's titles sticking where they are. Big E's still on Raw, Roman's still on SmackDown. Charlotte's making the swap. Now she's got the red women's belt. Becky has the blue women's belt. Becky's undrafted right now. Is Becky essentially going to go to Raw? Is that a guarantee? And then we're going to do the stupid, here's the red belt, here's the blue belt, swap like we did a few years ago? If so, okay, fine. The swap is dumb. Make them just different looking belts don't make them color coordinated, I think is what I'm saying. So they don't have to exchange belts. Like, obviously they're 2 different belts, but don't color code it. That's dumb. IC title's still up for grabs. US title's still up for grabs. All the tag team championships are still up for grabs. 24/7 already was drafted. Speaking of, I know they have a select draft pool. I don't agree with that idea. Why not just have everybody? You can have the surprise of a John Cena that one year that it happened where he got drafted to SmackDown and then drafted back to Raw on the same night. Have the pool open, because who the fuck is taking Madcap Moss before some of these other picks? Like, Madcap Moss. No offense to him. I'm sure he's fine. But he just came back from injury. What's the appeal of him? This man was picked before fucking Naomi's done way more. Jeff Hardy's done way more. Who else have we got here? The Mysterios he was picked before. Even Keith Lee. The women's tag belts got picked before him. What are we doing? I guess just to clump them in with Corbin, whatever, because they're a stable now. Okay, I'll allow it. So yeah, we got the weirdness there. I am very excited to see Hit Row move up. NXT call up, 1 of 2, with Hit Row and Aaliyah. Now, speaking on Hit Row specifically, really happy they're moving up. Good for them. They had some good work with Legado del Fantasma. Cool. Could they have stayed and done more work with MSK or Lorcan and Birch or, other tag teams in NXT? Sure. Especially Top Dollar, and I think it's Ashante Adonis is the guy's name. Yes. Excuse me. Could have done some more work there. But okay. They got a good gimmick. I'm not fully behind it, but, they're good workers. Now, speaking on the workers part, BFAB, the woman part of the group, doesn't have a lot of ring time compared to the gentlemen. Not a bad thing, but kind of a bad thing. You're going up to the main roster, and she still seems pretty new to it. Not a bad thing, once again, that she is new, but I don't know if her being called up is right. If she had a little bit more experience, maybe like Top Dollar and Ashanti were getting some matches for the tag stuff. She only just started now getting her own matches. I think as of last week's NXT, that was her second match. I don't know, at least on live TV. But you know what? Who am I to really say anything? Maybe she'll do great. She does round out the group, which is great. But yeah, hopefully she can learn and adjust quickly. Aaliyah, is another one that got called up from NXT, which was kind of alluded to back when Mandy Rose showed up on NXT. There was a whole swap there, whatever. Aaliyah's an interesting one. Aaliyah has been around for years, it seems. And she has the experience, but I don't know if she's comfortable. Every time I saw an Aaliyah match, there was something that just didn't look right or smooth. Nobody got hurt or anything, but it just, I don't know, execution-wise, wasn't the best. So that's going to be another interesting one to kind of watch and see how that goes along. I get that, the reason for this call-ups is maybe because of the NXT rebrand. We're focusing on a lot of brand new talent and bringing them in and not the indie stars that we had built up in previous NXT Black and Gold brand. We'll have to see. Does this mean we'll see a Johnny Gargano? Does this mean we'll see a Tommaso Ciampa? Does it mean, we'll see other names that we have already established in NXT move up? Maybe. The reason I say maybe is because you need established people to stay in NXT 2.0 to kind of work with and help out the newer talents. So if these talents are fine and happy staying there with the lesser schedule and doing those roles, why not use someone with that experience to kind of help build someone else? Makes sense. Last thing on Hit Row, because they haven't talked about the gentleman yet, but Swerve Scott 100% deserves this call up. That man is fantastic in the ring, good on the mic, great work. Is he just dropping the NXT North American belt? Okay, that's fine, makes sense. NXT champions have done that before. As they got called up, they've relinquished the belt. So sad, because if he does done it, English is hard. If he does do that, this man hasn't defended his North American title at all. He won it against Bronson Reed, RIP, now known as Jonah. He won it against him and has done nothing. Nothing with it. So it's just like, such a heartbreak. You make Jonah lose it, you release Jonah, and now you didn't do anything out of it. Okay, cool, great, whatever. It's not Swerve's fault, it's creative's fault, but it just sucks. So anyways, excited for them. Hopefully it all works out. Let me talk about Retribution real quick. So Retribution's officially dead now, I think we can say. T-Bar and Mace have now been drafted to separate brands. We got T-Bar going to Raw, and we got Mace going to SmackDown. Good. Nothing against them as a team. Retribution, unfortunately, was doomed from the start. And by the start, I mean shortly after. Could Retribution have been something interesting and actually fun? Oh, yeah. Yes, it could have. Mystery Groups comes in. We're all mad. We're not happy with how things are going, blah, blah, blah. But then we shot it in the foot immediately. No faith in this. We're going to get them all stupid names. We're not going to acknowledge at all who they were in the past. We're just going to give them masks and say they're brand new people. Even though we know clearly this is Dio Madden. This is Dominic Dijakovic. This is Mia Yim. This is Shane Thorne. Whatever. Okay, fine. We get the cool reveal. Mustafa Ali is their leader. Awesome. And then we job these guys out. They don't win a match for fucking months. I don't think they won a match until they finally disbanded from Mustafa Ali and started doing their own thing. What was the point? Why are we doing this? Why make a group, try and establish them, make them a threat, give them these interesting character looks and whatever, and do nothing with them? What the fuck? Stupid. However, in a good light coming out of this draft, with both of these gentlemen being drafted separate from one another, this can be good. Because we got a tease from T-Bar, a.k.a. Dominic Dijakovic, of his old gimmick, the Feast Your Eyes gimmick, where he was just himself and he was kicking ass. Doing really well in the NXT brand. If we're doing that, if we're letting Dominic be Dominic, and we're letting Dio Madden be Dio Madden, yes, All for it. Let's do it. Let's drop the stupid names. Let's drop the mask. And let them be them. Let them be talented. All right? Cool. Let's do that. Toni Storm. Love Toni Storm. She's great. Does well in the ring. Does well in NXT. Zelina Vega kind of ties in this as well. What are we doing with these ladies? What are we doing since their call up? I mean, Zelina's been around for a while. Toni got brought up. Shotzi Blackheart got brought up. Tegan Nox got brought up from NXT. All together. Bop, bop, bop. Random. Or not random. Rapid fire. Cool. All definitely deserving. All talented ladies. They come up. What do we do with them? Shotzi and Tegan kicking ass. They beat the women's tag team champions of Natalya and Tamina like 3 times. Never got a title shot. The other ladies in Rhea Ripley and Nikki ASH got a title shot. Now they're champions. Are they going to get a title shot? Okay, fine. Do it. But fucking commit to it. Toni has done nothing. Nothing. She did 1 match, I think. And she's just been backstage talking to Dolph Ziggler. That's it. Why do we bring you up? They teased a program with who's the new Japan signee? Saray, something like that. You teased a program with Toni 1 week, and then the next week she's on SmackDown, and we just forget about it. All right, Zelina hasn't done anything. She's been wrestling a lot. Good for her. Good. She hasn't won shit. What are we doing? Hopefully this draft allows them to reset. That's always the good thing about the draft, is a reset. Hopefully we can get something going with people that haven't been used. Whether it's the individuals, obviously, I just talked about, or Monday, we'll have to see who else is drafted. Hopefully we can get the ball rolling for these characters. Monday has been seeming to push a little bit harder on their product to make it more interesting, whether it's Monday Night Football or it's AEW, who knows. But they're getting a little bit of a fire lit under their butt to make it interesting. Good. Cool. Maybe this will help as well. I don't know. We'll have to see. So yeah, that was your draft results. Like I said, from Friday, somewhat Saturday. I am interested to see who else makes the move, makes the jump tomorrow from SmackDown to Raw to SmackDown, or to NXT for a call-up. That'll be interesting. The ones I'll be most excited for or interested in will be those NXT call-ups, just because we have a history with NXT call-ups of like the small percentage, you're going to make it through, you're going to do something, we'll have faith in you, and the rest, for some reason, just get lost in the shuffle, because why not? So we'll have to see. I don't know. Time will tell, just like everything in wrestling. But yeah, thank you guys for letting me gush about the draft. I don't know. This has been another episode of the Wait, What Are We Talking About podcast. My name is Bret, aka Enigma9011, and you can catch this podcast live over on twitch.tv/Enigma9011 every Sunday now at 8 p.m. Eastern. You can join the chat like Mrs. G did today. If you want to join the conversation, we'd love to have you. If you can't catch it live, that's A-OK. You can go over to our YouTube and podcast services the very next week, where it's broken up topic by topic and put as one big video and MP3 for your amusement on the following Friday. Last but not least, #ad merch store. You can get all of your swag over there, t-shirts, cups, backpacks, and more. Rep the brand, support us. It would be greatly appreciated. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today, giving this a watch on YouTube, giving it a listen on your podcast services, wherever you guys are absorbing the content. Thank you guys for giving it a chance. Like I said before, if you guys ever have any topics for me that you want me to discuss, feel free to put them down in the comment section down below, or even a guest. Let me know who you want me to talk to. We got some fun guests hopefully coming up this month and next month. So getting the ball rolling there, and I'm excited to do this weekly with you guys now instead of every other week. Thank you guys for hanging out. Give it a watch, give it a listen, and we will see you guys on the next one. Take care.